welcome to my January, I almost said July, my January/New Year's plan with me video. This is my bullet journal for the new year. I cannot believe it is a new year. I can't believe I'm beginning to bullet journal again after 4 years, but I'm very excited to do so in this beautiful journal. This is from Archer and Olive. I've had one of their journals before and loved it. And when I saw this one, it made me feel like I was in a Lord of the Rings movie. And so I let that inspire me. And with the pictures I chose, I let that kind of inspire what the journal and my first kind of setup for the new year will look like. So you're going to see lots of blues and greens, some florals and birds. I pulled a few C.S. Lewis quotes as well as some Tolkien ones, of course. If we're going to do Lord of the Rings, we have to pull a few of those quotes in as well. But these are the materials I'll be using. I will have a little, do I call it slide? A little moment kind of near the end where I include all of the materials that I used. I will link everything I can or just list those out. That might be easier just to list them out in the note section, the description section of this video, so that way you have it. I will try to link what I can. Again, I haven't bullet journaled in, oh my gosh, 4 years. So it is a process. Some of these things might not even exist anymore, but I know that a good amount of them do. So for this first spread, I really loved this image. I thought it was beautiful and I really wanted to find a way to use it, and why not highlight it by just having it on this first page right here. These little stamps I remember being like something like $4 at Hobby Lobby a long time ago, so I really wanted to use them. So I am just peeling this off. I did use sticker paper to print all of my images, which is why they're really glossy. And I will say, glossy, yes, hard to pull up if you don't like where they are, really difficult. So I may try to invest in some, not just sticker paper, but maybe matte photo paper and glossy photo paper. That way I can still use these wonderful glue dots that make it so easy to move things around. And I didn't really have a plan for this page. I kind of went into it really just trying to have fun, which is something I didn't always do. I mean, when I used to bullet journal, I was 21 years old. And I was in college. I started when I was 18. And I remember it being like me constantly consuming other videos and wanting to make something, equally as beautiful. And I compared absolutely everything. Maybe it's just the age I was, but it was time to change some things. Speaking of change, you may notice I'm married now, so I have a wedding ring on, which is another wild thing that happened this past year. But I will say the motivation to bullet journal didn't just spring out of nowhere. 2025, I don't know about any of you, it was wild in, I want to say the worst way possible, but in all reality, I would still take it because I've learned so much, probably more than I ever have. And I've been in school constantly for the past, my whole life. I graduated with my master's this year, and truly just the past year as a whole, not even with school, has taught me a lot. I know I'm very chatty, so welcome if you're new. I like to chat about life because that's what this is. It's life journaling. It's planning out a wonderful thing. And occasionally I comment on what I am doing. It's not just occasionally. Normally I am more, but I feel like I have years to catch up on here. So you'll see me add on this little border. I was thinking Lord of the Rings, not just the movies, but the actual book. So you'll see me kind of add in this little border, something simple. That's what I was going for here. But back to the life. Oh gosh, I wanted to get back into this for a long time, but as I graduated with my bachelor's, which was, like 3.5-ish years ago. Yeah. Life, I don't know, fell away is the best way I can describe it, and not necessarily in a good way. When I interviewed for my job, they asked me, what do you like to do outside of work? And I gave them a long list. I like to bullet journal and be creative. I had an Etsy shop. I did so much that was for me and my own enjoyment. And someone asked me that same question the other day, and I didn't have anything to get them. I work. My mom pointed it out, like my loved ones pointed it out. I don't do a lot of what I used to. And so this 2026 bullet journal is not just about being creative, which it is. It's about finding me again. Take this as episode 1 of me trying to really turn things around. So I'm very much so looking forward to this. Part of that being what you see right here, this very complex, I already drew it out. I don't normally do that. I like to do things kind of like live in a video, but it was too much. I had extra time last night, and so I went ahead and sketched out this. I saw a photo online of this beautiful window, and it reminded me of something that you'd be looking out in Rivendell. Like, you'd be looking out the window, and you'd just see all the hobbits coming forth to meet to talk about the ring. So that's what I was inspired by here, and I won't bore you by playing, the hour it took me to outline absolutely everything and color it. So it will kind of bounce around, is what I want to call it. Bounce around quite a bit here, but it was definitely worth it. And I've seen people do this before. So yes, this is kind of a common spread, but I have 50 books here. I probably didn't even read 10 books this past year. Again, I have become consumed by my master's program, work, and then I also had a lot of family things happen. I had a loved one pass away. I had another family member that just has really struggled with their health, and that was those things, the health and someone passing away, has changed my perspective completely. And that's where I think the goodness and the light can come from a situation like that. Is it woke me up and made me realize that truly every day matters, and I can't keep always sitting in a cubicle and not having another part of my life being a person outside of work. And I hope that makes sense. So even though this journal and this coloring process took me forever today, I sat down at 10 a.m. and I do have in here some, what do you call them? Time lapses. In true time lapsed, it did. But it was worth it. And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, it's time to make dinner, but I needed it. It was like my soul was pouring out years of things that I kind of just said, oh, you know what? Like, I worked really hard today. I'm going to sit and watch TV. I'm not going to do anything else. That's not living, not to me. And it absolutely can be to you. Do whatever you think is best. But I had to take a step back and realize, like, these are the things that are who I am, the things I enjoy. And, it's time to start prioritizing that. And if I can wish anything on that topic for all of you this year, it was just to reflect and see what you need. I realized that for some, like, that's the life. They want to climb the corporate ladder. They want to make 6 figures. To be honest, I don't care if I make $10 an hour. I just want peace, and I want to be happy, and I want to read lots of books, which hopefully this gets filled out into all that it can be over the course of the past, or not the past, but the next year. But I do love to read. Another thing that I really want to do. And I kind of got the coloring wrong. You can see that there's supposed to be 2 wood tones there. It got a little muddled, and I loved the stars, the kind of starry night theme, but I really wanted it to pop. So I took my good old Crayola brown and I went in and I did all the outlining, and truly, I love it. And I don't know why. Sometimes I get swept up in like the fancy art store things, if you know what I mean. Like the art, going into Michael's and like looking at all the pins, and you just become overwhelmed, and next thing you know, 10 things may be in your basket. I never walk out with 10 things. I walk around the store and unconvince myself that I don't need anything, and I'll usually get just a few things. But like, use your Crayola. Like, use what you've got. Go to the dollar store. That's how I started, is Dollar General and Dollar Tree. And I loved it. And it was affordable. It was affordable. So as a college student, it was a way for me to do these things that I loved. But if you're new to bullet journaling, use what you have. If it's a journal that's been sitting around, it doesn't have to be a fancy bullet journal, even though I think they're beautiful. Use what you have on hand. Most people have some sort of an empty journal. Even I've seen people fold their own kind of copy paper and make something. The whole goal is to just get it down on paper, to start to do something that truly is for you. And for these little sections on here, if you zoom in, they are, I want to say up at the top, a muddled painting. That's what I was going for. Abstract, no real shapes, no real stress, just going in and kind of including what I thought would pop. I have some blue mushrooms here in the corner. I love it. This is foreshadowing for something I've already painted, but it's my January kind of spread piece of paper, and I love it. And it has a lot of blue mushrooms on it. So I hope you stick around to see that too. But yeah, this truly did take so long. I don't feel like there's that much I can share on it, which is why I kind of pull into my own mind as I'm doing this voiceover, which is also coincidentally, if you hear what sounds kind of like scary sounds in the background, I'm choosing to record this voiceover on, I almost said January 31st, on December 31st, New Year's Eve. So there are fireworks upon fireworks going off in the background if you hear those wonderful little pops. But hopefully you don't. But we'll see. So I went in then and I added all these little lines. I absolutely love using these. Let me grab one. They're the Tombow water-based brush pens. I love these things, but I love coloring with them if there's line work. I tried coloring with them just like on their own, and they just don't have a defined enough line for me to like it without line art, and I hope that makes sense. But I tried doing something else and I ended up having to cover it up. But just covering or coloring in these was such a joy. And you'll notice I changed my mind a lot here. So this candle, I kind of nitpicked. I used a Posca gold pen to color in this brass. Liked it, but it didn't look antique enough. So I ended up going over it with a gold Sharpie to kind of give it a, patina's probably not the right word, but an aged look, like an aged brass instead of bright gold. Here is another example of how I would call it messing up here, but what you can't see is I have an absolute death grip on that pen right there. Because this is the part where I started to realize how much I've fallen out of practice with line work and lettering compared to when I stopped a long time ago. And I saw I was like so stiff, I could feel it in my hand. And so I did not like what I did right here because I used to be a lot better at it. So instead, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cover it up. I'm gonna let this mistake be a beautiful blessing instead of make me frustrated. That's the attitude for the year. So I picked out these two really beautiful images right here. And I actually have my bullet journal open, and I know it's really tiny on the screen, but that quote is from C.S. Lewis, and it says, "There is but one good, and that is God." And I have been on a spiritual journey. Pick whatever quotes you feel fit best in your bullet journal, but you're going to see a few of those things pop up in my journal. I had those in my last journals that I did too, but truly a ton has changed. So much in the past few years. So I wanted to have a page specifically dedicated to goals, yes, but you're going to see me kind of stamp here goals and prayers. And so I'll have 2 sections on this main page for that. A lot of people, when they bullet journal, they will have, what do I call it? They will have like the January to December kind of days, like a big calendar. And I do plan on having that. I tried. That's where I use the Tombow brush pens to try and doodle without line art. Did not like it. And I truly do not have time in this video because it will already be way longer than I have time for it to download and upload to YouTube. So it wasn't going to happen in this video, but I'd love to flip through or share it in a different way. But I was reflecting because a lot of time, this is what I said earlier, I used to compare myself a lot and to other people that bullet journaled, Instagram and YouTube, and I'd kind of fall down this rabbit hole of feeling very rigid, like I had to do the same spread as Amanda Rachley or another person that I admired, like Jenny Journals. Like I felt very like I had to do the exact same thing. And I wanted to go into it this time. Maybe it's getting older. I'm only 25. Wait, yes, I'm only 25. So I wanted to do some reflection and change the way I approach this because I did a lot of spreads before that I didn't actually end up using. And if you were going to recreate this spread, use it for what works best for you. Change a word here if it's goals and reminders or goals and birthdays, something that gives you the structure you need to plan accordingly. Some people use their bullet journal simply as reminders, which is what I needed it for before. Reminders, birthdays, to-do list, but you will find I use my bullet journal in a bit of a different way. Some people call it life journaling, which I suppose it is, but I guess it encompasses more. Maybe to me, I was doing some flip throughs of my old journals and I wrote everything in there. I wrote some days on my weekly spreads, my thoughts and feelings, memories, very short. I don't want to write too much, but then I had some pages where I would Bible study, or I had other pages where I documented a trip or a vacation that I did. So very scrapbook style, very kind of led in that direction. And I wanted to incorporate that again this year. This year. And so I just did this and kind of sectioned the page itself out. And most of the time, I mentioned mistakes earlier, I don't have a plan for the pages. I let my mistakes guide me. And then at the end, I throw in a lot of stickers. We just had Christmas, so I ended up getting some sticker book gifts, from other people because they knew I was going to be bullet journaling very soon because I talked about it a lot. And I got a cottagecore one. It's the same brand. I'll have to link them too. And a like woodland forest one. Love them. Absolutely love them. I didn't want to go out and buy too much for this. The goal is to not go in debt. I want to avoid it. Not that I went into debt before. And I do plan on starting to look at, like, I love shopping from small businesses. So, and I have a stack of old stickers that I haven't fully finished the sticker sheets yet. that I still need to use from some that I've used in the past. And I'd love to start doing that again, but I really just wanted to use what I had on hand and maybe use up some of those books because they have so many stickers on, like, in them, and I think they're beautiful, and I like how they're kind of mismatched and all different styles. It is versatile. So if you're just getting started, perhaps a book like one of those could be helpful. And I think they range, don't quote me, Amazon prices change all the time. I think they range from like $10 to $15, which is, I feel pretty good, but it is like a commercially printed thing. So maybe even it out. Sticker book here, small business there, and it helps. But do what works best for you. You'll notice I put a lot of sticky notes in my journal, and that's solely because I am impatient and I don't want to wait for things to fully dry. So I put a sticky note over it, and I hope that whatever ink is not yet dried soaks up into that sticky note and does not get on the next page, which it did. It still did because I didn't wait for the candle to dry, but that's okay. Okay, yay, we're getting started on my January spread. So this right here took me so long, but I was so inspired by that image, like the images I showed you earlier. Particularly, there was one of a forest scene. Not from Lord of the Rings, but it gave me the same feeling that whole world does. Not technically the Shire, but I'm thinking of like elven forest. It was very blue toned, very kind of deep greens, not really, like the highlights that were there were coming from glowing mushrooms, and it was just very dark and moody, and that's what I wanted to capture here. Now, I was unhappy with this. I will say for like 75% of the painting process, I'm using paints right here from high school. So 7+ years ago, 8 years ago, but I got them like freshman year. So these are at least 10 years old. If you're using old paints or maybe like not as high quality of paints, do not mix all the colors like I did here, because by the time I got to the greens and the blues and the browns that I needed, they were already really tacky and hard to work with. So much so that I was getting frustrated. I was not having as much of a good time as I wanted to when I was doing this. And so truly take a break if you need to. I did take a break mid paintage because it was not working out. I was unhappy with the background. It wasn't as dark. I felt like I didn't give it a good kind of bottom coat. So I took a break in between me doing this part right here. I went and I ate food. I drank water, took care of myself, breathed a little. I gave myself a pep talk. I absolutely did. And then I came back. I came back and I painted this right here. And I was so proud of it. I still am. I'm still very proud of it. But it gives me that feeling like I'm standing in this forest surrounded by these beautiful glowing mushrooms. And this is also the first painting. I've painted little eggs for Easter a while ago, but that was the first painting thing I've done in years, truly years. And I loved those miniature eggs because they were tiny and not as intimidating. I was intimidated today, but I loved it. I loved it, and I love the outcome of it. Now you're going to see here in just a few moments, I'm almost done with this painting. I decided to do something I've never done before. I printed my images on sticker paper, as you saw earlier. It's high gloss sticky paper, which I can also link. But again, I like the sticky paper for this. For the smaller images, I would rather use a photo paper. But printing it on that makes such a high quality photo. Such a high quality photo. I'm using my trusty, what do I call that? The little white gel pen to do some last minute highlights, but I actually took some scans of this, one in kind of a warm light and one in a blue light, and I printed them. I took a picture, did a few edits where the coloring for some reason in the corner just wasn't right, so I did that. I added some finishing touches with some colored pencils just to add more texture. I love texture in a painting. And normally I would paste this in just as it is and risk it all by writing January on it and half expecting to mess up the lettering, but this is what I did. So when I said I printed it on that paper, I had one in the warm light, which was this in my left hand, and one in a cool light. And just that, these aren't a whole bunch of edits that I did. It was just the lighting in which I took the scan, changed things. I tend to lean the one on the right because it's dark. I still get those really deep, rich darks kind of among the mushrooms, which is what I really wanted. Yes, and it gave me all the feels. I did hand write the lettering as well on my iPad. It takes me a lot less tries digitally because I'm a little bit more familiar with Procreate and like calligraphy on there because it assists you. It assists you a little bit, but so I just need to get back. I need to get back into it because practice truly does not always make perfect, but it makes improvement, which is what I want. And you'll see throughout this video, I'm very stuck on these borders. I think they make for like a really bookish look. And so I pasted in where I made a mistake at the bottom, oh gosh, what book was that from? I ripped out some pages of a 99-cent book that I got from Goodwill, and it's called Birth of Fire. I don't know if any of you have read it before, but I didn't realize when I bought it that it's a science fiction book. There's some weird things in that book. And I tried to find pages that weren't as weird. But if you read it and it's weird, I'm sorry. I really don't think they are because I specifically tried to find ones that didn't say very, very odd things. But you can only try. So then I picked these images right here for this bullet journal page. Loved them with the little deer. I felt like it matched really well, which is what I wanted. It matched this other page really well. Now, this is another change from the bullet journals I've traditionally kind of seen when it comes to other videos and things I've just consumed as far as content goes. I would normally on this page do some sort of calendar, some sort of important date section, but I don't end up using it. Or if I do have some important dates, like I list 1 to 31 here, it'll be like everything happens on the 14th, or I've got 2 birthdays to celebrate on the 14th and I only have 1 line to write, and I find that frustrating. So I went in here, and you will notice I pencil drew in these things. Being out of practice, I didn't want to risk it. I had already covered up that other lettering, and so I just went in with my pencil and slowly drew these things out and then like outlined them. Yeah. Went over them with my, oh wow, what are these? Because they're wonderful. I got them forever ago. They are the Millennium. They're stippling pens. They're not technically like a normal liner. I love these things though. And 2 still last. It used to be a whole set. I had to throw 3 of them out because they're the 3 I used most. And so maybe I only threw 2 of them out. I accidentally threw one out that I didn't need. Regardless, they're wonderful. And so if you can still find them, because I did get them for so long ago, they're really good. But I use the 08 and the 05 primarily in this journal. And then I of course topped it off with some leaf stickers and some stars. I used my zebra mound liners to add a few little lines here just to create some sections. but I only need a things to do in a date section. Important dates will go on here. The things to do is just a quick big to-do list. You'll see that other page I didn't finish working on. I just couldn't in this video. My hand hurt after doing that one, so I was like, just move forward. But this will be my weekly spread. Now, I do still want to do weekly spreads because I use them. Whether I use them as like a day-to-day to-do list or I write a memory, doesn't matter. If you flip through my old journals, I use them in different ways like that. But I loved the chance to finally use some of these pages. So I went in with my trusty glue dots and put those in. I was a little indecisive on the actual images I wanted to use. I was thinking of making them match the last page, but I really, really wanted to use a different quote here. I wanted to use one of the quotes, one of the Tolkien quotes. And so I went ahead and pasted in using some of my washi tape just to add a little bit extra to the page. These are pretty much the only two I used for the entire, I want to say month, but also the 26 pages. This black, I think I used a tan one too that came in a set, and this blue one here. But I added the Tolkien quote right at the bottom, and I went in again with my Ticonderoga pencil. I hope I'm saying that right. My mom is a teacher, and she swears by this pencil. I have grown up using this pencil. Lead pencils bear too hard. They're the refillable ones. They're too hard for my bullet journal, and I have a hard time erasing the lines, but that one is always so good to me. So I will continue to have a stack of them in the corner. Now this is where I ripped up my page. It happens at least once. Every time I bullet journal, I put something down, I instantly regret it. And this is where I started to really question sticker paper, because this is not the first time I wanted to rip it up. And when you do rip it up, I wish I wouldn't have even put it back down, because what happened here is it kind of made you, I don't think you could tell, but it made these lines in the image that I didn't care for. So I ended up pasting another image on top. What you can't see is I actually tried to do that with a different image before, and I ruined that one too. So I just, third time's the charm, and I put a different one on there. Now I'm going to finish up kind of drawing out the lettering here. I also realized I always used to write the full word. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know why I said all of them, but I did. So I used abbreviations here for more space, which just makes sense. Gosh, so much has changed. So I went and added that. I'm, of course, going to top this all off with some some of the same washi tape that I've been using this entire time. Some of the tan one here at the bottom. But I'm so glad to be back. This is absolutely something I will be doing each month because I have to, for the sake of me. And so I feel energized, which is weird, but I am so excited to share some more of these creations with you all throughout I almost said semester. I'm on such a college student schedule, even though I'm graduated now. But I work at a university, and so I'm still on that schedule. But just for this year, I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see the way this journal goes and progresses based on where I'm at. I actually have a lot of goals. If I do like a bullet journal flip through at the end of the year, you'll probably see some of these things filled in. But I have a lot of fun things, especially just getting married. I plan on doing a marriage spread. I just got my photos back. And so I couldn't really do that. Well, I didn't have a bullet journal last year, but I want to have a few pages, maybe 4, I don't know, highlighting just pictures from the wedding and my marriage to an amazing man. I love him. I love him so much. And I also am gonna have a like memorial page for that person, my grandfather, who passed away. So I'm looking forward to all of that, because that's what this is for. It is for the memories and the ability to sit down and do some art, be creative, kind of make mistakes and have fun with it, because when you make mistakes in real life, they're not always fun. But yeah, I hope that you like this spread and all of the things I've done for the new year in January so far. I added in my final stickers, and then that is it. But it was really a pleasure getting to kind of plan with you all. I'm gonna definitely be looking at some videos. It's wonderful to see all of yours as well. But again, I hope you liked this plan with me video, this bullet journaling session. But I will see you all again in February. But I hope you all have a really great new year and you're able to get some well-deserved just rest in such a busy season in life.